Hey, this is Brittney Slays from Unleash the Archers, and you're watching rockflesh.com.
And welcome. It's Stuart Lucas from rockflesh.com. I am here in the Student Union in Manchester, and the vacuum cleaner has hopefully finished in the corner there. And I am with Brittney from Unleash the Archers. Well, thank you very much for talking to us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So you're here, we were basically here in Manchester. I think that's the big thing to say. Most power metal bands, when they come over, think the UK begins and ends in London. Yet you've made it up north.
Yeah. No, I mean, we understand, because in Canada, we have the exact same problem. A lot of bands will come to Toronto or Montreal, which is about a 36-hour drive for us, and no one comes to Vancouver. So if we're lucky, maybe they'll come to Seattle and we can cross the border and see them there. But yeah, no, we are in a very similar predicament. So when our London show sold so well, we said, well, why don't we see if we can get a couple club shows up north and see if we can satisfy those UK fans that were unable to make the trek. And then our promoters, our booking agent and the promoters were kind of like, oh no, it's festival season. People don't go to club shows at festival season. It's never going to happen. And, you guys are wishing for something that's just not going to happen. And then it ended up working out.
Well, there's a big queue of people outside, and there always has been a bit of a buzz about you, because I remember when you were announced for Bloodstock 2 years ago, and it was announced almost a year beforehand, and you're one of the biggest cheers. Because people were like, oh my God, you've actually got them and stuff. Because it was Bloodstock last year, it was bloody brilliant. It was really good. So what did it feel like? Because there was a lot of love for you in that field.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We were very surprised that it was packed full, and so we were by the stage that had all the food vendors and everything around them, and it was people as far as you could see tucked in amongst all the food vendors, and as I couldn't even peek around the stage far enough to be able to see everyone. So it was great, and we were really excited that there was such a great reaction. It was funny because we were tucked in between two death metal bands, and so we were just like, okay, whatever, we're gonna do what we do, and if people like it, then that's great, and hopefully we'll gain some new fans, and people that haven't seen us before will be excited by what we do, and people that have will be excited that we're there. So you just kind of just keep on keeping on.
Well, it said the Bloodstock show was so I think the first time, that was brilliant. But before that, it was 2017. Last time, how difficult is it? Because you're a pretty independent band in the fact that you are, you run it yourself, you do a lot of the work yourself. How difficult is it to actually get over here to England?
It's difficult. When we came in 2017, we tacked it onto the end of the tour that we did with Ordinogan, and so. Because we just, we're all descended from here as Canadians. So we were like, we got to go play the UK. We got to go see. And we had always had fans here, and we knew that we had a good fan base. So we were like, okay, let's book a little, I think it was like a week that we did here. All the way up to Edinburgh, and then home again after that. So, and that did really well. I mean, for who we were at the time, playing small bars and venues and things like that. But they were packed, and we had an awesome time. So we were like, we always knew that we've had some longtime fans up here. So, it is difficult to get over here. So you kind of have to make it work with existing shows.
And as I said, you're out across Europe, you're doing festivals. How does it work doing sort of headline shows in the middle of doing festival shows? Is it like you've got almost had two set lists running concurrently?
Yes, I printed out all the set lists before we came, just so I could be like, okay, so tonight we are doing this, and it's like, it's difficult, but we knew that we had a limited amount of time here, and so we said, we're making the flights over anyways. Let's try and plug some club shows in there, and luckily we were able to do that, and we were able to do all 3 days in the UK, and but it's just kind of, it's a matter of getting everything, you know, we
Yeah.
need to have visas and all that
Yeah.
sort of stuff to come here as well, and paperwork and all that sort of stuff. And we had to rent a separate backline
Yeah.
here, and we managed to find a little tour bus that was able to do the whole thing for us, so that was great. But it's just logistically, sometimes it's a little difficult.
And you're, you know, really interesting what you describe about all those, you know, stuff which we probably as fans never see behind it. We just see you walk on stage, we don't realise all the stuff behind it.
Oh yeah.
but you know, you're, as I said, you're a pretty independent band in the fact that, you know, you're tour managing this as well. You know, the first 2 albums were released independently. You are, you know, you do a lot of your own publicity stuff. You know, is the band almost 24/7? You know, in the fact that how hard is it to be an independent band in today's world?
I mean, yeah, it's difficult. There's a lot of things that you have to juggle. And it's unfortunate that you know, being in a band doesn't actually pay the bills.
Yeah.
So you're doing all this work and putting all this time into it for it to, you know, cover kind of maybe your rent if you're lucky. So it's, you know, but it's not why we do it, right? We're not here to make money or be famous. At least not us, unleash our shirts. You know, we're here because we love to make music and we love to share that music with the world and with the fans that have been there for us since the beginning. And we love getting up on stage and having a good time and just playing our music for people that are excited to hear it. So it just makes it all worthwhile. And there is a lot of work that goes behind everything. So it's really funny when you know, we'll post tour dates and everyone's like, come to my city. And it's like, dude, if we could be on the road, you know, 365, then we absolutely would, but you just can't. And it's not like, it takes just as much money to play as it does, you know, that you get paid if you're lucky. You know what I mean? So it's a big investment, and not just with money, but with time, and you know, you sacrifice a lot of life with your family. So it's just kind of a matter of trying to keep the scales balanced.
And I think, you know, when we've spoken to bands, we hear that same story again and again and again, is, you know, that whole sort of, you know, come to our town, and then basically 100 people will say come to our town, and then 20 will turn up, and it's like, you know, where the hell is the other 80 of you? It's I don't think there is that realisation of just how much bloody hard work it is. But I'm also really interested, you know, you play a very European style of metal. You know, it is quite different to what we would describe as the, you know, American or Canadian, you know, sounds. You've always felt that affinity to Europe in terms of the fact that you play something which is a very European sounding thing.
Absolutely. I mean, well, our influences are just hugely European, of course. So, like me in particular, like just Swedish, Scandinavian metal in general, I listen to a lot of it. So that just kind of filters into our sound. And but of course we do have North American influences. That sort of gives it that little bit of a twist, so we're not playing just straight up, you know, Swedish power metal kind of a thing. So it's, but yeah, we've always loved playing over here. It's just, music is just treated differently in Europe than it is in North America, and as musicians, you're treated differently. You're not really looked at as like a drain on society. And useless human beings. It's, you know, people over here understand that you're contributing to culture and community in general, and it just feels like a more thankful place. So we've always loved coming over here, and it's just so difficult to you know, to get it done. So that's why for a while there we were just kind of like, especially after like post-COVID, when, you know, every single country over here had a different. If you've played here, you can't play here, and so then you can't play here, and then but you can play over here, but not here. So it was just like America for like 2 years straight, and but we were so glad to finally be able to get over here in February, and you know, play for all the fans that have been waiting so patiently for us for so long.
So is there a power metal? You know, we know about Effervescence, and we, you know, but is there a power metal scene in America, or is it quite an underground thing?
There's a pretty good scene, I would say. Maybe not necessarily like power metal scene, but a heavy metal, sort of trad metal kind of crew, I think, for sure. And we all know each other, and we all kind of hang out, and we have a good time. And it was actually Lords of the Trident that started the new wave of nice metal buds. which is hilarious.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of people that play traditional heavy metal all hanging out and putting each other on one another's shows and festivals and things like that. So it's an awesome little crew. Yeah. Though we may be quite underground.
But your sound has changed. You know, there is, Phantoma sounds quite different. You know, it's you, but it sounds quite different to Apex and Abyss and stuff. Was that an evolution that you went through in terms of that sound? It's almost got more, I would say, sort of crisper, almost more adult, if that's the best way to describe it. It feels more evolved.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, we are changing as people, and our influences are constantly changing, and so our sound is going to, be affected by that. And we set out to write something new and something different and something that we haven't done before, and we just really enjoy experimenting with different sounds and seeing how we can incorporate that into our music so that we don't write the same record over and over again. And we have a lot of people that are kind of like, but the Apex was so great, like give me another Apex. And it's like, well, if you like Apex, go listen to Apex, because it's not going anywhere. It's still here. And I have a lot of bands where I'll go back to my favorite records from them, and but I also will always give their new album a chance and take a listen to what they're doing, and sometimes there are bands that people have been like, you should be listening to this band, and I haven't gone into any of their stuff, and then their new album is like, oh, okay, awesome. It's experimenting with your sound and changing who you are and what you do, I think is really important in this day and age, because it's just there's no record, like CD sales, there's no royalties, there's no residuals, there's none of that anymore. So you got to constantly be trying something new and finding new fans, and finding a new and exciting reason to get out on the road and tour.
And Phantoma, Phantoma is about AI. It's about sort of AI and a dystopian future thing. Was there a bit of a feeling? You must have almost been riding the zeitgeist a bit. You release an album about AI, and suddenly AI is blooming everywhere.
Yeah. That was unexpected, because it was still just a topic of science fiction when I wrote all the lyrics and everything, and when I came up with the idea, like. It was inspired by, like androids from Star Wars and Star Trek and Terminator, and it was all just movies and fantasy and science fiction, and then all of a sudden when we released the record, it's this real thing. Dolly 3 had come out and was like, this is actually pretty good. Like it wasn't, but it was like, oh, okay, so now everyone's seeing the potential, but they're also seeing the threat. And that happened right as the album came out. And so it was kind of like, I was just like, no, I don't give a shit about ChatGPT. Like, this is about, this is about like the androids that I've watched my whole life being in love with science fiction movies and novels, finding, becoming sentient and wanting to join in humanity, and everyone just took that as completely wrong. Like we were just like in love with AI or something, and it's like. And then we did use AI in parts of the creation of the record, but simply because we wanted to be like, okay, let's, the whole album is about AI, let's see what ChatGPT can do with lyrics.
How did that work out? How did it?
No, it's terrible. But like it just spat out like a poem. Like I put this stupid little prompt in that was like, androids seeking vengeance in the night, I think. I was like, write a poem about this. And then, but because of course it doesn't know the melodies, it doesn't know, nowadays for sure it'd be able to write something awesome, Well,
there's been a couple of AI bands which have come out, but it's been quite interesting, and it's a really as people who do creative things, it's a really interesting thing that sort of actually someone could replace it and do.
But that's okay. So we were talking about this, and I was kind of like, okay, so there's this band or whatever, and everyone thinks that they're AI. And nothing has been said to the contrary, aside from like some tweets or whatever. And it's like, okay, well, that's believable. But what's the point?
Yes.
So to get like listens and money on Spotify, like you can't build a fan base. You can't go play a show. You can't hire people that look like the people in the photos that you've created through AI or something. Or can you? Like, what's the point? The whole point of falling in love with a musician and their music is because you get to share the experience with them. And if there's no human behind it, then where do you go after you discover their song? You know, because I go watch music videos, I go watch live footage, I read about their Wikipedia or whatever, things like that. Whereas with an AI artist, there isn't any of that. So it's just kind of like, okay, so you just invented this thing to get listens on Spotify and make some money. It's kind of like, oh, all right, like, sure, okay, maybe the music's good, but after that, like, who cares? What is there to care about? It's super weird. Yeah.
There's also the acts of creation. As a writer, what I love doing is the creating, and the idea that I can just press some button and suddenly it comes out.
Yeah.
Almost for me takes away the bit I love most, which is sat there scratching my head, going, okay, what word do I put here?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. The creative. Oh yeah, I love writing albums, and that's why everyone's always like, go on tour, and I'm like, no, I'm on to the next record. Like, come on, this is the best part. And then you have these programs, but it's also like, honestly, I don't care, because there are people out there that love music so much, and they just were never given the opportunity to learn how to play an instrument or understand the technology behind the recording process or anything like that. And so now there are these programs out there that allow these people that wish they had that side, and they're allowing them to create, which I think is fine. But to create this sort of facade just to make money kind of sucks a little bit. But I mean, what are you going to do? It's the future, and we're going to go through this kind of stuff for a while before we finally figure out the real application for artificial intelligence, which is finding a cure for cancer, or picking through things that have bogged us down forever, and that computer just figured out how to do faster than light technology. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to fucking Mars. Like, it's gonna do the cool stuff eventually, but right now it does the easy stuff. Easy, I say. It does the creative stuff, because that's what it's trained to do.
I feel almost with the bit when the motor car turned up and we're still wandering in front of it with a red flag, still trying to work out what this thing is and stuff. So we almost at that point with it. But is there, we go back to Fantoma, is there more to it, or is the story complete? Apex and Abyss was a two-parter.
No,
is Fantoma done?
Yeah, Fantoma, one-off.
One-off, that's it, done.
Just one, yeah.
So would you return to the world of Apex and sort of Abyss, because that was brilliant.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe someday, if I don't find anything else to write about, maybe I might go back to a threequel. I don't know. It depends. I have lots of ideas right now, so probably not for a while.
Okay. So you're never tempted to write about, you said you talk about science fiction. You're never tempted to write about real life. No. Is it, for you, it's all about...
Well, Fantoma was real life to me. Yeah. It was the possible future of humanity with AI kind of at the forefront of things. So that was, it was science fiction, but it was as close to me writing about this world as it is now, and as it could be, as I'll probably ever get.
I'm going to let you go because you've got stuff to prepare, and I need to go up the front and get very excited about sort of seeing you lot. I'm going to leave you with the question we always ask people there, which is, if you're wearing a Wacken t-shirt, so Wacken said to you, okay, you can have a stage, you can have an Unleash the Archers stage, you can do with it what you want. Who would you have on it?
Oh man, I don't know. Probably, like Amorphous, Bloodbound. Amon Amarth, some Friends, Striker, Seven Kingdoms. I don't know, Ghost.
Yeah. They were. We saw them in Manchester, and they were pretty special.
Yeah, no, I just love I love the lore behind everything, and how Tobias is just so involved in every part of the process, and
Brilliant. It's Brittney, it's been an absolute pleasure. So you've been watching rockflesh.com with Brittney Stayers from Unleash the Archers. I've been Stuart Lucas. Do the subscription thing, do the press buttons, whatever. Keep coming back to us here. It's been emotional. Thank you.